Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Monogatari. Tonight we're on episode three of Koyomimonogatari. So, what had happened on the last episode? Great question. Boom. Comment something. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Is my stuff working? My mic's on. Yeah. Okay, but I've done. Listen, it's been. I like did a big like setup rehash. You can see there's like a half put up green screen. It's been a long couple days. It's just been a long couple days since the last one. And that's besides the point. But like, oh my goodness. Listen. Okay. In fact, in honor of the long couple days it's been, we're going to do a full reset. Ah, you feel that? Do you smell it? Cashmere woods, okay? We got the cashmere woods in the air. Okay, I got a different pair of headphones on because my wireless ones are out of battery. We got the listen, this is new mental space ready for Monogatari. Okay, so, the comments. What is happening? Good question. So, let me just top to bottom. Okay, we're gonna need to lock in. I will actually propose Koyomi one episode at a time. You're probably the person who's doing it justice, largely thanks to both the base you've built till now, chapter 1s and comments. Good, true. I think that's pretty fair, actually, yeah. I've liked doing them, as long as we're hitting, like, I mean, if we're hitting, like, stupid long episode times for the single episodes, then I think single episodes are fine. If I'm starting to, like, duck into, like, the 40-minute territory, then I think it's good to double up, because then, you know, two of them would be about an hour and a half or something. But yeah, as they are now, I think we're totally fine, but if it starts to slow down, we'll pick it up. We'll figure it out. So some clarification and stuff here. Senjigahara wasn't his girl yet when he climbed the building. He was dating her by the end of the episode as a skip forward to the end of May. True. Very true. I think, like, I remember, when he first, because I think the scene that I made a comment on was Araragi, like, it was by the traffic and like Senjigahara was about to walk out into the traffic, and so he like grabbed her and they like did like a little spin dance. That to me felt like a scene where Araragi, like, that's like the moment where where the two of them are like, wait a second, maybe we should date, you know, where it's like they feel that chemistry for the first moment. It's like Araragi maybe thinks Senjigahara is cute or something, right? And then he gets an opportunity to like break the touch barrier, and even if he doesn't like consciously think like, oh, I'm about to like break the touch barrier, it more so is like he's always kind of wanted to like take a step forward in their relationship, you know, just as friends at that point, and just as like people that know each other at that point. But you know, she's walking out into traffic and, you know, he thinks she's cute or something, so he immediately reaches out and grabs her like that. That to me is kind of how that scene felt, where it wasn't that they were like dating and in a relationship yet, as much as it was like the seeds and the foreshadowing for that relationship. And so Araragi is so quick to like touch her, right, because he's, you know, the touch barrier kind of thing. But yeah, then afterwards, after the time skip, then they were definitely together. That's something I didn't really fully parse, but so I do appreciate the clarification. And yeah, this like time, yeah, like right here, right, until the end of Hachikujii's arc is when they start dating. But yeah, and then he remembers the Oshino thing later. And then yeah, we get a lot. It's nice getting Senjigahara stuff. Somebody else says something about this. We'll just get to that in a second. I like right here, I think, where yeah, I do feel like Senjigahara gets out like a kind of weirdly. It's not even by a lot, but it's like I feel like she just gets like 80% of the screen time than I would expect her to get, you know, or it's just like a little less, and so I feel like I'm always lacking a little bit of Senjigahara. So it is nice to kind of get to see how the two of them interact before they were like more together like that. So I think that's a really good point and a really good highlight. The character you don't recognize in the ED is Koyomi's mom. We actually have seen her in a scene in Nekoshiro when Hanakawa stays at her house. True, we've seen her. That's a crazy idea. Cause then why is his mom part of the squad that's like barreling in on him? Like, that's new. Like, he usually he doesn't really talk about his mom very much. You know, so it's kind of crazy that she she'll get brought up very rarely, right? She'll get brought up sometimes, right? But in terms of being shown, like, he's never really shown the mom in any of the stories. We've only seen her from like Hanakawa, one of the Hanakawa stories, right, when Hanakawa's narrator. So for her to slip her way into the story in the ED is kind of crazy. It's like, I don't know, it feels like some of the wall, like, as we're kind of as Araragi's introspecting and kind of like reassessing the past events in his life and kind of filling in little gaps. I mean, because it's like, here's all this stuff that happened with Araragi, and you know, like all these, like the stone and the flower. Like here's all these like mini like oddity-esque things that happened with Araragi that we never got to know about. So it's like now we're going back through and filling in the dots, and it feels like, I don't know, it almost feels like he's, I don't know if we're building to like a master plan, but it almost feels like a like I'm in such a crazy situation now, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that Ogi is part of it, whether he's admitting it to himself or not. I mean, I just say that because Ononoki had said something like that, like what Ogi's the puppet master or whatever. So for Araragi to have that going on in his story, and then immediately it's introspecting, I'm thinking like maybe he's like, this is him putting the pieces together of like, maybe I gotta look back and see how things got to the point they are. And it's not even necessarily like putting the pieces together like, oh, Ogi's the bad guy or something, but it's like, why am I here? Like, what happened, you know? Because now it's like we can't go back anymore. Like, we've hit a point of no return, and I feel like that changing point makes a lot of sense to then look back and be like, okay, so now I can't go back to being human anymore. Why did this happen to me? Why has this occurred, right? Is this just the divine retribution I was claiming it to be? Or perhaps is it something deeper that has to do with, like, I don't know, my perception of vampirism and my reliance and whatever on it, that kind of thing, right? So it's like, I love the point of introspection, which is why it's crazy that the mom shows up, because I feel like that is a point of, like, he's starting to, like, it's like maybe, like, on a very small level, he's starting to accept, like, maybe I do need to think about how I was raised. Maybe I do need to think about whatever has happened with my parents. Because, Araragi, I know something happened, okay? And I know you don't want to tell me about it, but I will rip it out of you, okay? Okay. Whoa, little bit of mucus. Okay. Senjugahar's line of the extraordinary into the extraordinary refers to her getting out of the crab god situation, expecting normalcy, and the ordinary, but instead meeting her very extraordinary boyfriend Araragi. Pretty cute, not gonna lie. That's actually so cute. If you want to run it that way, that's really adorable. Meeting her very extraordinary boyfriend Araragi. That's so sweet. And then yeah, the Hachikuji going up and down symbolizes her passing up and down heaven and hell. Get it? Sure. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair run on it. What makes me curious is in one of the EDs with Hachikuji going up and down, I think it's the submarine one, it was like Shinobu's like the submarine captain. Because yeah, I mean at the one point she had gone all the way up, like it was like Hachikuji it was like at the end of the one where she like faded away and died basically, right? I'm not getting the arc names in my head. I'm losing. Let me see. Was it Kabuki? No. What is it? I don't know. Whichever one it was where, like, Hachikuji dies. But at the end of that ED, right, she, like, goes all the way up, and then she fades away, and, like, her backpack's left behind, but, like, she's gone. So, like, that is, like, 100% her dying, right? But then, like, I'm curious, like, why is Shinobu with her going up and down when it didn't, like, to the point of not her fading away, but just the up and down? Like, maybe it's, like a limbo space kind of thing, like a commentary on immortality. I don't know. It's just a very specific thing. And so, like, as much as it is, like, her dying, I'm curious if there's another element of... Because, like, think about it, right? Like, Shinobu... The deification route just isn't very strong with Hachikuji because she's literally dead. So there's no way we're going to, like, bring her back as God. Like, that was kind of a meme. But I'm thinking, like, Shinobu and Hachikuji were going up and down together in the freaking submarine, right? I just got to rewatch that ED if I'm going to commentate on it. So I'm thinking, like, as much as it's Hachikuji dying, what does it mean for Shinobu? Or what does Shinobu being part of it mean for Hachikuji, right? That's just, but yeah, I agree with this for sure. I think it's fascinating to see, yeah, so I talked about this for a second, that she does, I like the, and maybe intentionally part here for Senjugar, because I do think that's very true for Araragi, that, like, a lot of the, like, them getting freaky with it is usually not something we get to see, which, you know what? I appreciate that, Araragi. And that's, like, the crazy thing. I feel like that's a good commentary on, like, the actual, like, how Araragi actually views, like, intimacy and, like, sexuality and such. Where, like, most of the time you would think, like, oh, he horny, he a rat, he the worst, right? Because of all the fan servicey-esque things. But when it comes to what actual intimacy that occurs, he hides it. So it's, like, is it the difference because is it the difference of an intimacy that or like, is it the difference from like sexuality and intimacy? Is there a difference in Araragi's head of sexuality and intimacy, wherein a you can have like all these sexual elements, but it's kind of in a non-intimate way where it's just like, oh, I'm molesting you. Oh, we're brushing each other's teeth. Oh, blah, 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 right? Versus like a very more intimate sexuality where it's like, oh, I'm getting freaky with Senjugahara. And is the intimacy part why he wants to hide it? Because that's like getting us too close into his core, you know? So I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I think that's true. And it is fun to watch her change. Senjo slipped on a banana peel and fell backwards on the stairs like a normal slip. Shaft just went crazy with it. Yes, I had forgotten. So I appreciate that. Because yeah, I was like, I asked that. I think I asked that during the episode. The question that then I have is like, okay, did she actually fall on a banana peel? Has anyone seen the banana peel? How clear is the banana peel part? Because like, a small part of me wonders if, like, well, did she fall backwards on the stairs? Was it very specifically like she fell down the stairs? Or was it like she slipped off the railing? You know? Because obviously with Shaft and the way it's animated is she's like falling down in like, it's a circular staircase, which I don't think is accurate to the actual stairs, but she's like falling down like she's gone, right? So if she slipped off a banana peel and fell like over a railing, then that's one thing. But if it's just down the stairs, that's another. Because if she were like, and just run with the hypothetical for a second, like let's say it's a not just down the stairs and is more like she slipped over a railing and she was gonna fall, then like a part of me would wonder like maybe freaking Epic Games stop giving me notifications during Monogatari. A part of me would wonder if the banana peel, like she was actually trying to kill herself is the point, right? And I don't think that's necessarily true at all, but I think that like, I mean, maybe, right? Like, who knows? I mean, like, if it's just backwards on the stairs, then it's probably fine because you're not going to try to ice yourself by falling downstairs. But if it's over a railing, then it's like, when did we hear that it was a banana peel? Did she just say that? Because, like, what, we're just going to believe her? You know? Or, like, did Araragi say that? Like, what, Araragi's going to tell us that he met his girlfriend by, like, stopping her from icing herself? Like, I don't think Araragi would want to tell us that. Like, he would probably just make up some shallow banana peel excuse to, like, distract us, right? Or just, you know, like, lie to us, basically, right? Like, so I'm curious if it actually was an attempt on her, like, if she was making an attempt on her own life. Because, I mean, I don't know. It's just the show has so many themes of like suicide, right? So many characters that kind of like go through that. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Senjugahara is like an app. It's like she's so like I almost want to say like disassociating, or like she's so pulled out of her own life with the apathy that like it comes to a point that's just like, I'll pull out of life completely and it won't just be my emotions anymore, you know? So I don't know, it just came to mind. But yeah, the banana peel is what we've been told. I would have to rewatch all those scenes to like get a good read on that. I do appreciate this. I did do this. I just did this now with the folders, with like doing the folders correctly, so I wouldn't get the thumbnails. It's just like, man, literally my computer file management system's trying to spoil me. It's crazy. It's crazy. Timeline update. The Koyomi stuff is so funny. It's gonna be such a mess by the end of this arc, man. It's gonna be such a mess. Like, already look at this. Koyomi stone, Koyomi flower, Koyomi flower second half. Yikes. Slipped on a banana peel. Or so we're told. Ponytail girl is Mama Araragi harem. Yeah. What do you mean harem? Why would you say mama and then harem in the same like line here? Okay, that's kind of interesting. Okay. Hello, Freud. Yeah, okay, so we know this. Let me see. I really like some of this, and I pretty much agree with it, right? That, like, I like this parallel I like, right? So it's the Hanakawa saying, like, life is, there's a road and you walk down it. That's kind of it. We just kind of walk, right? And so, like, the everyday life, you take it for granted, but that's just how it is. You just walk. It is what it is, kind of thing. But then the, like, counter stance we get to that is from Senjugahara, which is, it's more like you're walking along and suddenly you're somewhere else, somewhere you don't recognize. In that, like, yes, you're just walking down it, but that doesn't mean that that's all it is. Like, there will be other elements that'll show up, whether it's ordinary into ordinary or just randomly into extraordinary or whatever. But, you know, you'll think your life's just going as per usual, but then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, things have completely changed, right? And so I like this kind of breakdown of it. In summary, I think the contrast is to highlight about having a more mindful approach to life. Consequential effects do spring up. Hanakawa's, you simply just walk just by how you feel about life, versus Senjo's, you walk with understanding where your step lies, mindfulness. Yeah, and then the mindfulness parallels really well to like the use of the flower in the story here. So like the flowers being a signal that, while it's like a signal that exists, I'll just read the line because this is really well said. Something that exists to have the opposite effect of what it proclaims. Basically, what Senjo and Araragi are about. So like as much as it's like normally, if you're not being mindful of your steps, right? If you're just kind of going through life, then you'll walk up to the flowers and you won't be digging into the layers of it, so you'll just get hit with it, right? Where it's just like, oh, like I like going up on the roof of the building, you see the flowers, you would, instead of putting all the pieces together, you're like, oh, somebody like tried to ice themselves here or successfully ice themselves here. And then that kind of makes you more wary or cautious of the situation, right? But so that's just like without being mindful of just kind of walking down life. But if you were to more like it's somewhere like right here where it's like somewhere you don't recognize, if you were to attempt to recognize your path more and like the path you're going down more, then you would be able to see that it's a fake if you pay attention, right? The flowers aren't supposed to go down here, they're supposed to go down at the bottom where the person actually died, right? So that I really like that idea of like kind of like it's like mindfulness, but it's also like a degree of like analysis, right? And I changed it. I guess mindfulness works. Mindfulness, like I feel like is like a core of this entire Koyomi nonsense, right? With the whole, we keep saying the word introspection. Mindfulness can be is a part of that entire deal. So for that to be like the theme of the story, I think makes a lot of sense, in like that level. And then, however, drastic or dangerous actions like climbing the outside of a building force someone's hand to overreact to the point of making the front moot. Warnings no longer have effect. Feigning ignorance will no longer work. We will actually have to make ourselves ignorant to go on. Which, by the way, just bars, right? Like, really well said. We will actually have to make ourselves ignorant to go on. That's like the last thing they do, right? Where they're just like, well, let's forget about this. Isn't that what they... I'll have to... Let me pull up that. I'll pull up the episode in a minute. But yeah, like, I don't know. Just reading this makes me think, like, have we done this before? You know, like, when has drastic and dangerous actions forced someone's hand to overact to the point of making the front moot? You know? Because I feel like it's, as much as it's, like this idea is in this arc, I'm curious, like, maybe we can, like, apply it super easily to the other arcs, you know? Because, I mean, drastic and dangerous actions occur freaking all the time. And then everyone's throwing freaking fake signals, real signals, fake real signals, real fake signals, you know? So, and then warnings no longer have an effect immediately makes me think of all the traffic sign nonsense, right? Freaking Ogi, man. Ogi. It's just an Ogi moment. Because Ogi was talking about the traffic signs. I gotta rewatch that. I gotta rewatch the entire show, man. Okay, let me finish this other one. The just become ordinary after 2 years. Hitagi absently steps into unrecognized roads distracted by flowers. Chapter, yeah, and then I like the how the whole world feels new to her thing. Makes a lot of sense given that like her emotions have just come back to her, so it's like the whole world would look different to her, right? That was like a big part of the whole like gratitude for normal life. It's like she actually might be able to get to experience that. Like she talked about how novel it was just walking down the street, right? So that's like an example of, while Araragi is completely like null to having like a gratitude towards life, since Senjugahara just came out of like a completely apathetic situation, like the normal life to some degree she might have a gratitude for because of how like novel everything is at that point. And then coming back to the first episode of Bake, crazy that that's just a thing that's said, right? Because, I mean, literally the first episode of the show. According to Hanakawa, Hitagi is a name for civil engineering / public works. So, like, a combination of fertilizer, field, and tree in, like, the hiragana. Or, no, in the kanji. So, which is symbolic of their constructive relationship. Yeah. Yeah, and then it is funny that, like, not the hospital. I called it a hospital. It's just the school got, like, remodeled with the safety netting, right? is like constructive, and then look, they constructed. So, that's maybe a bit much. I think it's more just like the how Araragi and Senjugahara like build each other up in their relationship is the idea. Yeah, because I mean, let me think. Their relationship, is it good or bad? I mean, it's good, right? The relationship between Senjugahara and Araragi, like, I think that's good. We don't get to see a lot of the big hitting of it. Like, we do see a couple big hitting, wow. I mean, I don't think it's bad in any way. I don't know. I don't really have anything to say on that off the top. I still think the dead dad theory holds up. We'll see. Hey, maybe, okay? Maybe there's hope. You know what? I appreciate that. Maybe we could cook with it. I just got out of the woods. We'll watch later. It's just funny to me. And early gag. And good job getting out of the woods. We always like to make it out of the woods. So kind of on, what was it? Let me just scroll through the last up a little bit. Because, yeah, what we want to do is we want to scroll through the last episode and completely, like, finish that. And then we go into Koyomi 3. Okay. So, Koyomi 2 is what we just watched. So let me open with Pot Player. Hello, my little pot. Hello, my little hot pot. Okay. Oh, yeah, staple. Good old staple. Okay. Let me turn it down a little bit. Is the audio coming through good? Everything's beautiful. Okay, good. So, yeah, this is like a day after we just got our emotions back, right? I think somebody told me that. Yeah, right here. The way I say things after being plagued with health, even something as simple as walking along normally like this is a rather novel experience. Like, I don't know, it's like a perspective thing, right? Where it's interesting. It's like Araragi has gone through like such a crazy turn of events with Kizu that he's like been thrust so deep into the extraordinary that he no longer, like, the ordinary is just like, it's like a nothingness. Like, it's just like, how does any of my normal day, going to school, all this nonsense, even compare to, like, what I just went through, right? Whereas with Senjugahara, she went through something very extraordinary herself, but then coming back from that, it's now novel to her. Like, the ordinary is, like, you know, it's like, because they both went through something extraordinary, but for Araragi, he became, like, hardened to normalcy, but for Senjugahara, she's expressing some sort of novelty with normalcy. So it's like, you know, like, what's the difference in that caused that split? Like, is it... I mean, in one sense, it fits very well to, like, the literal, like, what happened to them, right? Wherein with Senjugahara, you know, she was kind of sick and apathetic, so for her to not be that anymore, like, for her to be non-apathetic anymore would mean that she now has those emotions, which would make things novel. Like, that makes a lot of, like, intuitive sense. Whereas with Araragi, like, he went through a lot of really extreme, like, in-your-face stuff, like, while Senjugahara, it was like, we pulled everything away, whereas for Araragi, it was like he got a lot more, you know? So, like, in that way, I can see how she would become novel with the ordinary, whereas Araragi would become kind of mute to it because he's got a ton more stuff layered on him, kind of thing. But it also makes me wonder, like, is this... Because, I mean, it comes down to just, like, what it is an oddity. What, like, why did Araragi meet Kissshot in the freaking subway, right? And why did Senjugahara meet the Hitagi crab? Like, to a degree, to a degree for sure, underline that, italicize and bold it, oddities are, like, brought forward or appear to people because of how they are, right? They're not, like, completely dependent, necessarily. And, you know, it's a weird thing. It's so hard to define oddities, but Araragi, I think, met Kissshot because of the headspace Araragi was in. Or even if he didn't, his interaction with Kissshot proceeded as it did because of how he was, right? Where he, like, ran away and then came back and then, like, the communion occurred, right? Where he became her, like, vampire minion, right? So, the entire, like, the root causes of his entire Kizu journey, I think, do lie with who he is and who he was at that moment, which then is, like, a thing. And then same thing with Senjugahara, where, like, her apathy with the situation, like, that was the escape route that, like, came to her with the crab because of how her life was at the moment, too. So it's, as much as it is, like, their experiences were very different, so, like, that would lead to them having a very different, like, I don't know, relationship with normalcy coming out of that. As much as it is their situations being different, with oddities specifically, the individual is so tied into the experience and into the situation, I feel, that it also can reflect onto them. So perhaps to Senjogahara, right, like I wouldn't want to just completely make it about their experience. I want to also make it about like who they are, right, and who they were at the moment. So then it's like her returning to a more like novel experience of normalcy or whatever is like a commentary on her, not just on her experience. So like boom, basically Pog. You get what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I kind of felt like a little bit of a nothing burger, but I feel like it's important. Which is like, boom, that's the entire story. It feels important. What is this 30 cross? Araragi's dad died when he was 30. Araragi thinks that if he ever makes it to 30, he's gonna die there, because then like father like son. So he doesn't want to make it to 30 years of age, or he will die just like his father. Boom. Random traffic sign spoiled the ending. No. Yeah, and so we're little dancey dance. Yeah, so she really just accepts it too. But look at their little dance. Like, this is just a showing of their chemistry. She's like, excuse me? But it's like, dude, we just busted out a move. Aw, it's cute. It's actually cute. But yeah. It's also like, as much as a signal can deter you, it can draw you in. Like, it's gotta be just a freaking, you know, like it's, like, when have signals that are meant to deter us have drawn us in? You know? I feel like Kaiki kind of went through that with, like, Kaiki with Senjogahara, dude, where, whoa, that's an exact example, bro. Senjogahara had sent a note to Kaiki during, what, this freaking, was it a Tori, is that the name of it, with freaking Sengoku going full snake mode, and it was the Kaiki arc. Kaiki got the note that he didn't know was from Senjogahara to, like, pull out of the mission, and that was Senjogahara giving him a signal that on the surface looked like a go away signal, but really was a draw you in signal. That's an exact example of that occurring. With Senjogahara, nonetheless. Woo! And also, ooh, I kind of like that. Or, like, Senjogahara, like, handcuffing Araragi that one time. Like, I wonder if that is, like, if we could, like, latch that on. Oh, hi, Shinobu. Interesting. Very interesting. And then, yeah, this is the school. This isn't a hospital. They just have a freaking cross on the front of it. They're putting up the linking fence. It's also funny, like, in their attempt to uncover things, they did so in a dangerous way that then made the area around them safer. Like, I don't know. Like, the school, I feel like the school, like, the safety proofing of the school because of Araragi's actions could be, like, a deeper metaphor for something. But I'm not sure what. Also, let me look at this woman that y'all were saying was maybe Araragi's mother. Let's ride our bikes to far away. Our bikes? Plural bikes? Okay. Hi, Karen. Hi, Tsukihi. Hi, Kagenui. Hi, Gaen. Hi, Ononoki. Hi, Ogi. Okay, so let's say that's Araragi's mom. Araragi's mom, why are you sitting next to Ogi? What, out of everyone you could choose, why Ogi? You're telling me Ogi is sandwiched between Gaen and Araragi's mother? What does that mean, man? Ogi is the cross between what Araragi see. Bro, it's like the two parental figures. Mother is literally a parental figure, and then Gaen is like the, I think, personification of, like, the annoying parts that Araragi sees with parents, right? Like the know-it-all kind of whatever. So Ogi is in between these two parental, like, esque things, man. Ogi is Araragi's dad. No, I'm joking. That one's a joke, I promise. Okay. Also, why is Ononoki freaking out in the back like that, you know? Let me mute it. Ononoki, why are you like that? And then she, like, swings on Araragi? Ononoki, stop swinging on Araragi. Like, you trying to wake him up? Shinobu just chilling in his shadow for real. And yeah, the ending. I wanted to watch the ending real quick. Of them agreeing to, like, forget about it. This is our secret. Keeping a secret might not cut it. What the difference between keeping it a secret and purposefully forgetting? Bro, I wish I could just purposely forget things. Just for gore. What we've done until now, of course. Oh, because, like, up until now, they didn't realize that, like, their actions had consequences, right? It was like, it's like the safety proofing of the school just reminded them that's like, oh, wait, that was us, So, like, they had forgotten about it. For gore. Okay, don't give me just your lips like that. Ew, why do your lips look like that, Sentogar? Put on some chapstick. Yeah. But, like, why not just keep it a secret? Why do we gotta forget? Because it's just that much of a... Let me... Okay, so... I'm gonna move over to the Koyomi 3 thing. Though I'm gonna read one of the comments again really quick. However, drastic and dangerous actions force someone's hand to overact to the point of making the front move. Warnings no longer have an effect. Feigning ignorance... Because, yeah, keeping the secrets would be like feigning ignorance. We have to actually make ourselves ignorant to go on. Force someone's hand to overact to the point of making the front moot. Warnings no longer... But, like, why does feigning ignorance no longer work? Just because the extremity of it, of, like, the ramifications, like, the secret will come out. Like, what specifically? Because it's just, like, I'm trying to use this to poke at other parts of the story. But... And, like, you can see the connections... But with that, like, I feel like I need to get into specifics to actually lock things into place. Because I can, like, speak vaguely, I can, like... Because that's something crazy. It'd be so easy to just speak vaguely of everything all the time instead of trying to, like, get all, like, But, like, I ain't trying to be, I don't know. It's just hard. Let's see. I'm reading this one more time, then we're gonna jump to Koyomi 3. A front to keep people away, but being able to tell it's fake if you pay attention is built into it. True. Very true. Intentional contradiction. Agreed. That is what the flowers were doing. Intentional contradiction. Kind of reminds me of Ononoki as well. A little bit of, that's something, people intentionally contradicting themselves is like a thing we've seen, right? Something that exists, it makes me think of Kaiki too. Something that exists to have the opposite effect of what it proclaims. True. Makes me think of some of the Kaiki ideas, now that I'm thinking about Kaiki, right? I claim to be a con man, but really I want to, like, be a, specialist, balancer, freaking hero, whatever. Is, some people have kind of gone that way with the Kaiki character. Basically what Senjo and Araragi are about. Something exists to have the opposite effect of what it proclaims. However, drastic and dangerous actions force someone's hand to overact to the point... I guess someone's hand is what intrigues me here. Like, because someone's hand, like, in the story, right? It wasn't Araragi or Senjogahara that, like, had to overreact. It was the school. It was the environment around them. So, like, what actions have we taken that have forced someone's hand to overact that then kind of ruins the point, Because, I mean, I just think of, like... I don't know... Forcing someone to overreact. I mean, it's just like Araragi does a lot of dangerous actions and then people respond to it, sure. But like overreact is an interesting word. Like in context with the like the theme, like I think it makes a lot of sense. But it's like when I'm actually looking at like the more literal like stories of like I don't know, Araragi dying or like trying to like getting iced in front of Hanakawa as the cat or whatever, and she like cuts him in half, all that kind of stuff, and then that kind of changes their relationship. Like, or that's not even a good example, but just like a lot of the times I feel like with Araragi doing a bunch of dangerous, reckless stuff, it's not people overreacting, it's just people responding to it. Where like I guess at least with Araragi, since he's kind of a mess, I don't know if he has this much of a plan, right? Where I don't know if he is like making intentional contradictions like in the story. I think in telling the story, sure, but within the story as a person that like is going through these experiences, I don't know if he's thinking that far ahead ever, right? I think it's much more just intuitive and reckless. So like making the front moot, yeah. I guess on a more thematic level, I think you could apply this a lot. Warnings no longer have an effect. Yeah, where it's like I wonder if you could do something crazy. This would be crazy. Okay, that's the last thing I'm going to say on this because it's crazy. Drastic and Dangerous Actions is Araragi doing a bunch of fan service in telling us Monogatari, right? This is the bath scene. This is the toothbrush scene being portrayed to us, which forces our hand to overreact to the point of making our hand overreacting as the audience is us going, oh my god, goodness, this show is crazy. It's fan servicey. It's wild, which then makes the front moot, which is like it's like a critique of being blinded by our gut impulse of responding to a story, where we immediately see something that makes us like uncomfortable or crazy, and then we're like, boom, and we completely ignore the point of it in favor of the overreaction to it. Like Hanakawa big giant swinging boobies, right? And we are so focused on the Hanakawa swinging giant boobies that we completely overreact to that and make it about that as opposed to what the actual point of it is. So it's more of a thematic or meta point as opposed to something that we can like that is like usable within the story. Though it could also be usable within the story. What about that? Okay, I told you it was crazy. Koyomi 3. Let me look at Koyomi 3. Let's get going into Koyomi 3. Koyomi Sand. Okay. Oh my goodness. Why is my head so itchy today? Man. Okay, chapter 3, Koyomi Sand. Sand immediately making me think of him getting what's the word? Him in the hourglass with the sand like burying him. We've seen sand before, like, you know, we've seen sand before with the Hana Monogatari. Okay, Koyomi Sand. HACHIKUJIII! Okay, so we're going to the beach. We're having a beach episode. Wait, no, this isn't is this a beach? I see it's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. We got, what is this line? Is this a beach or is this like a sand, or is this like a sand pit? You know, is this like a fun playground sand area, or is this a beach? I think it's a beach because it's got the barrel, the bucket. Okay, HACHIKUJIII. What does HACHIKUJIII do with sand? June 6th. Okay, bog. Okay. HACHIKUJIII. How long is this? Okay, not too long. Just a little two-pager. I'll do a clean read, more or less, and then we'll look at it a bit deeper. Do I have a drinkus? No. I mean, I have water. Okay, it's fine. I won't drink water. Okay. I first became aware of Mayoi HACHIKUJIII. We first became aware of each other. Wait, okay. Restart. Full reset. I first became aware of Mayoi HACHIKUJIII. We first became aware of each other in a park with an unreadable name, but thereafter our encounters always took place out on the road. She'd gotten lost on the way to visit her mother, which was also how she ended up in that park, so I thought she might have her own take on the subject of roads, and at some point I asked her about it. Oh, so we follow in the path thing from last episode. How? How do you view the roads you walk down? Which is the same as asking, how do you view your own life? She's dead, bro. Just to be clear, I didn't necessarily think I was in much of a position to be asking such a question, and I was well aware as I asked it that whatever thoughts and feelings lay behind the way she chose to live her life were inconsequential to me. If calling them inconsequential sounds inconsiderate, all I really mean is that it's HACHIKUJIII's business how she lives her life. And if that sounds like I'm giving you the business, then let me rephrase. I just think she's free to do as she pleases. Even a friend, even a selfless, peerless friend like Hanakawa has no right to meddle in how a person lives, though maybe in how a person dies. Okay, you are so hypocritical, Hararagi. You literally meddle all the time. But okay. Roads, replied HACHIKUJIII, are just some place to walk, as far as I'm concerned. Uh-huh. That's just the literal meaning of a road. I don't mean that, or I mean that too, but I was thinking about roads in a more conceptual sense. No, Mr. Araragi, it's still the same. Roads are for walking. HACHIKUJIII didn't budge in the face of my amended question. She just continued on with an amiable grin, as always. A road, whatever road it might be, is a space that connects one place to another. Wherever it begins, wherever it ends, that never changes. You wouldn't normally call a dead end a road, would you? In other words, continued HACHIKUJIII, you can think, what kind of road is this anyway? Or, where does this road lead to? Or, this road is unstable. It seems like it might collapse at any moment. Or, I'd like to be on a different road. But there's one thing you mustn't do. The moment you break that taboo, the road ceases to be a road. I asked HACHIKUJIII, seasoned veteran of wandering lost, what this taboo act might be. And here's what she told me. To stop walking. Once you come to a stop, that place ceases to be a road. Ooh! Okay, HACHIKUJIII! Okay, HACHIKUJIII! Man, I love HACHIKUJIII. Okay, so like, you know what I like about that? You know what I immediately like about that? That it's about what the person is doing with it, right? Because it's not just the road is a road because it connects, because it exists like inconsequential to you. It's not a road because it's like of some it's not in a road externally, it's a road because of your walking upon it. And if you stop, then it's not a road anymore, you know? So, like, I mean, that's just, like, that's such a... It's just, like, it's like perception, right? It's like oddities are connected to people. Oddities are built somewhat in the perception of people or in the mythos of, like, what people are imagining as a whole or whatever, right? Where it's all relative, you know? So, like, the road's roadiness, right? The road's concept of being a road is relative to the person walking upon it, as opposed to being a completely externalized thing. Which is just something we see a couple times in the show. So, like, now we're applying it to, like, how would we connect the metaphor? So, like what do you say here? How do you view your own life? Like, yeah, I mean, if your life were, if you come to a stop in your life, or okay, how would you say this? Once you come to a stop, it ceases to be a life. In reference to one's, like, in reference to one's life, if you come to a stop, then it's no longer a life, right? That would kind of be the idea. But the question is, by stop, do we mean death? Because that's kind of obvious. If you're dead, you're no longer alive. Well, I say it's obvious, but we got the whole, like, oddities, immortality, becoming a vampire thing, so it's like, once you come to a stop, or, because it could also be, like, a stop in a more, like, because, like, stop doesn't mean that we're gone, it just means we're no longer moving forward, right? In context of the road. So it could also be more of a, like, stagnation, you know? Like, once one stops moving forward in their life, then their life stops being a life, because, like, intrinsic to, like, what is ontology the right word? Whatever. Intrinsic to the quality of being a life is the movement forward, right? So if one were to stagnate, then it no longer would be a life, which is interesting. Hachikuji just coming in out of nowhere with a freaking banger. That's my favorite Hachikuji right there. This made me think again. She gone lost on her way to visit her mother. Araragi, are you lost on your way to visit your mother? Whoa, whoa. Okay. Just to be clear. Whoa. Okay. Just to be clear, I didn't necessarily think I was in much of a position to be asking such a question. This was interesting to me as well. So, like, let me just rephrase. I just think she's free to do as she pleases. Even a friend like Hanakawa has no right to meddle in how a person lives, though maybe in how a person dies. Even a friend, so even somebody, what Araragi's saying at this point is even somebody, like, who he idolizes, even, like, the perfect human, even the freaking pogged out of their mind, pure white being that is Hanakawa, has no right to meddle in another person's life. Which is funny, because he doesn't like Gon, and Gon is portrayed in such a negative way because she meddles in everyone's life by knowing everything, you know, instead of, like, humbling herself by only knowing what she knows. And then, which I think is a you know, like, an analogy for, or, like, an extension of his mother, his feelings on his mother. He probably thinks his mother, or at least maybe even parents, plural, has meddled in his life, and, you know, so, like, is this just projection of, like, I mean, surely it is, right? Araragi projecting how he feels like everyone's meddling with him, or, like, all these people are meddling with him, or, like, fate itself is meddling with him, and he's just, like, a puppet. He's just a little Ononoki, a little dancing along Ononoki. But then, why, though maybe in how a person dies? Araragi? It's just crazy, because he does that. He meddles in people's lives all the time. Constantly. But is like the, in maybe in how a person dies, him, like, compromising someone and being, like being aware of his own hypocrisy and, like, accepting, like, no, I'm not meddling in people's lives, I'm just meddling in how people die, because I'm doing my heroism, blah, 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 you know? Not even, like, heroism, but, like, yeah. Roads are just someplace to walk. Roads are for walking. A road, whatever road it might be, is a space that connects one place to another, wherever it begins, wherever it ends, and never changes. You wouldn't normally call a dead end a road, would you? Yeah, and dead end is a very, like, stagnating thing, but it also could just mean death. In other words, what kind of road is this? The moment you break that taboo, it ceases to be a road. To stop walking. Okay, I say let's just jump into Koyomi. Oh wait, yeah, let's jump into Koyomi 3 maybe. I don't think I have. We can look at the ED more when we actually watch it, but let's jump into Koyomi 3. Let's jump into Koyomi 3. Hachikuji episode, Hachikuji episode, Hachikuji episode. Dude, they're starting with the backpack OP. This OP like made me like upset when I first watched it. I was like, guys, what is this? What is this nonsense, bro? That's how I felt when I watched this OP. Because it was like the second OP in the show, right? And so like, I don't know, it's just a lot of energy to be thrown at me early, you know? But yeah, Koyomi episode 3, Hachikuji, Hachikuji. Finally getting some more Hachikuji action. Even death couldn't stop her, because we got retrospect. Okay, episode 3, let's get this going in a 3, a 2, a 1. Bang! She's literally on crack, bro. This is such a crack OP. Hi, Hachikuji. Oh, the Hachikuji bus. A million Hachikujis. The perfect world. A world of only Hachikuji. Infinite Hachikuji. No matter which way I go, I end up in the same place. All roads lead to Hachikuji. But it's like to arrive at her mother's place is the end. Like, it's no longer a road once you've arrived. You know? Which makes sense for her character to, like, say that, like, to kind of, like, talk about that. Because, like, she's always on a road. Like, that's kind of the point. But then she did make it home, but then that ended up kind of being the death of her in a sense, right? Later. Even if it's a roundabout. Like, she's literally always on a roundabout. She's always in this circle, you know, until she made it home and then she ended up dying for it, right? So it's like all roads end. You can't walk on the circle forever. I mean, I guess unless you're an immortal oddity. Hachikuji! Cyclists, please dismount your bike. Oh, you are not listening to that. We need speed. Araragi, we need speed. Huh? That's not speed. That's lethargy. No. I thought he was gonna go for her, man. I bit my tongue. Hachikuji. Hachikuji. New path just dropped. New road just dropped. Left the town. Okay, so okay. I somewhat get an idea of where we're at now. It's funny, he's in a circle, man. I was just talking about the road that cycles on in itself, like the infinite circle. A road that doesn't end. Money, money. Yeah. Yeah, funny reference. I don't know the name of it, but I get the reference. And Araragi always pay his debts. Surely. That's Sedge. Oh, by Konbaru. Konbaru has a monkey mode. Hi, HACHIKUJIII. True. We're commodifying oddities, bro. That's a crazy idea. Aw, thank you, Hachikuji. So kind. Or just odd stories. No. Bro, she a businesswoman. 10 yen and a McChicken. 10 yen and a McChicken. 50 yen and a McChicken. She a businesswoman. Oh, she got the coin. Is that the yen coin? Yeah, that's funny. Oh, it's a play. Okay, so it is a playpen. It's not a beach. Okay, so a kid drew this. Okay, so a kid just drew it into the sand. I don't think it's necessarily. Okay, let's see what they do with it. Let's see what they do with it. She was just seeing what she wanted to see. Perception. Perception. Oh, different days. Interesting. Does it just... I mean, maybe a kid is just coming in and doing it. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, there's a tree. That's crazy. It's a Baki reference. Oh, is he messing it up a bit to see if it does anything? Let's see. If I played in the sandbox like a child. It did bring you into play in the thing like a child, though. That's kind of a... I don't know. I feel it's important. For Araragi to play like a child. I don't know. Maybe I'm smoking crack. Okay. Hi, Anakawa. Hello. Hanakawa, where are you? She doing a little wandering herself. Don't gotta go home to go back to. This music. Okay. Why are cameras watching her in this like playground? What did you, yeah, what? Is it just nature? Is this natural? Like a wind formation? I don't know. Or the water? Is it water pooling? Like the cover page we saw? Say it! Hey, thank you, Arakawa. Speak your truth. Speak your truth. Natural forces? What do we got? What do we got? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. You and me both, Araragi. We can shake on it. Oh, you and me too as well, Hanakawa. We can shake on it. Yeah, what else do we got? Magnetism. Surface level. Whoa! Whoa! That's kind of crazy, actually. It's just like the stone thing again, bro, with the stone in the shrine. What is it, a crack? The foundation. Okay. Just quinkadink. The sand and the dirt would mix. It's kind of a beautiful shot with the sand falling through the crack. Because he was saying the exact opposite of like, oh, it's not an oddity, it's not a problem. But really, it wasn't an oddity, but it was still a problem. Hachikuji! Yeah. As worrying as a demon, as frightening as a human condition. You really just called the human condition frightening, man. I mean, real. Real. Huh. Okay. So, nature. Sand. Tsujihara! It's just, okay, roads. How are we connecting the road to the sand, you know? Like, that's what's interesting to me. I feel like that was kind of a weird jump, you know? So I'm curious how those analogies connect. I'm going to have to just scroll back through, but I want to watch this ED. Also, random thing. I think it's so cool, by the way, that in, like, the last... Like Araragi, has he lost his shadow now that he's, like, where he's at currently? Actually, I don't know if he has. I think he has, right? Because then, like, he's, like, independent from Shinobu now in, like, the vampirism sense, like, in our current time. So, if he had lost his shadow as well, then it's, like, she wouldn't have to, like, hide in his shadow anymore because they're, like, independent. I don't know. I'd actually have to look if he's lost his shadow or not. It's kind of besides the point. Sand. Quicksand is an interesting, like... Because, like, sand, we've seen people sinking in sand before, right? Which to me is like a, like... How do you survive quicksand? I gotta, like, learn nature sand survival techniques to, like, figure out how this show works, man. You know? Where it's like... Because, like... In, like, Hana, right? Like, the sand... You're just stuck in the sand and you sink. So, like, if you do nothing, you're just gonna keep sinking in the sand, right? But isn't it, like, if you fight, you're gonna sink faster? So, like, isn't the best thing to do, like, low-key nothing? Or, like, not panic? I don't know. I don't know if we're trying to go there necessarily. This whole crack thing. So, for the time being, it being merely a natural phenomenon. Why are we talking about natural phenomenons? Okay, so she finds this tail that she pawns off for 50 yen, right? This circle is so interesting to me as well, right? This circle, where to deal with the Yoshino cost, and then he goes to it, and it's like a demon sand thing, but really, there's just a crack in the box, which is like cracking the foundation. You know, he's looking at the surface level sand and sees, oh, there's no oddities, there's no blah, 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 but then Hanakawa comes in, makes a closer look, or like, Hanakawa's just smart, he takes a closer look and realizes the foundation is what's broken, which is causing what looks to be an oddity to appear, but really it's just a natural phenomenon. Which makes me think, like, okay, like, what, like, the natural, like, life, I don't know, like, what is this an analogy for? Is it an analogy for something specific? Like, what foundation is broken that's then causing what looks to be an oddity, but really is just a natural phenomenon to form, you know? That's kind of the thing there. Like, what's cracked, right? Like, is Araragi cracked, you know? And not in the good way. He's not, like, cracked, but, like, there's a crack in Araragi's foundation, which I think would be a fair thing to say, and that's causing a slow leaking of the sand. Whoa! I think I got it. Okay, wait a second. Hold your horses. Okay, there's a crack in Araragi's foundation, and, like, who he is, in his box, right? There's a crack that was formed probably before Kizu. Maybe Kizu was the crack in some ways, but there's a crack in his foundation. The sand is leaking. He is so busy playing in the top level of the sand, where it looks like there's oddities, right? Because the demon face it looks like an oddity. So he's busy, like, oh, is this an oddity? He's playing around, blah, blah, blah. But he's unrealizing that deeper, on a deeper level than the what looks to be an oddity is a core issue that is going to cause cataclysm if not addressed. Boom. All right? Because in that way, it's reflective of Aragi's has an issue in his life that he hasn't addressed that doesn't even necessarily have to do with oddities, right? And the oddities are just the distraction, the smoke and mirrors, the bunch of nonsense on top that is pulling that he's playing in. He's literally playing in the sand like a child, unknowing that as the sand leaks, as time progresses, with this core conflict not dealt with this core issue not solved, there will be ruin to come. That's what I'm saying, Aragi. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Woo! I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I mean, that just clues into, like, all the stuff we yap about, right? That's such a core yapping topic of, like, the oddity as, like, a surface level distraction for, like, the deeper issues. That's literally oddity in the sand that he plays with rather than looking at the core issue deeper in the sand that is actually the sandbox that is leaking, bro. I am a sandbox and I leak. Whoa. What am I leaking there? Sand? I hope so. Okay. Wow. Okay. The trees, like, shadow over the sandbox. I mean, that's like, Aragi is the sandbox. Aragi is the sandbox. That's why the tree is over the sand, right? Because the tree, Koyomi tree, freaking blah 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 blah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And so, like, he's so busy trying to figure out what oddities are and, like, all this nonsense that he's distracted. I like that. It's funny, too, like, but how does the road thing connect? Right? How does the road thing connect? Where is it, like, he stopped to play in the sand, and by being stopped... Because, I mean, there's, like, one of the deeper themes of Monogatari of, like, running away versus, like, averting your eyes and all that stuff. That's like an entire core theme that I feel like I don't have a full lock on yet, you know? So it almost feels like the sand, like, playing in a sandbox reminds me of Hana with sinking in the sand, which was, like, not running away, right? It was, like, kind of like a doing nothing thing, if I recall correctly. So, I don't know. We're always dealing with, like, a couple core philosophies and, like, there... Which makes me curious, like, if the moving forward philosophy that Hachikuji talks about, where, like, a road is only a road because you move forward on it, and, like, a life is only a life if it continues to move forward. And so, like, is there some degree of him stagnating by playing in the sand? Like, is that him not moving forward in his life? But I almost want to say not really, because in playing in the sand and then talking to Hanakawa about it, he realizes a core issue, which feels like a step forward, right? He realizes the crack, but that is due to Hanakawa, not necessarily due to him playing in the sand. But, like, he has to dig up the sand, so it's like, I don't know if that's exactly the idea there. I'm not very confident on that, because, like, I feel like we got two little things here, right? We got all the road stuff and the Hachikuji. We got all the Hachikuji stuff. But then I feel like we got the separate thing of core crack in the foundation. Can we could one move forward in their life with a core break in their foundation? Like, you know, that's an interesting question. I mean, you could, but you're gonna crash and break, right? But, like, I don't know. I'm having trouble connecting the two analogies in, like, a way that, like, is satisfying for me. And the cameras watching Hanakawa was interesting as well. I mean, that just makes me think of, like, one of her EDs for one of the cat episodes, or even multiple of her, like, cat arcs. There would be, like, the control room of, like, the cat kind of watching her and, like, all the security screens. So it almost feels like this is a fun, like, like an analogy or metaphor, like a connection to those EDs and to, like, she's being watched by the cat kind of thing. Which is fun. Though, it almost feels like there's something deeper there. That's Monogatari in a shell nut, you know? It feels like there's something deep here. Man, that shot of, Also, the reality is that the bottom of the box would eventually fall out and the sand and the dirt would mix. What's wrong with the sand and the dirt mixing? Because it's not like the box would fall out and I would fall and get hurt. It's that the sand and the dirt would mix. I mean, is that, like, improper? Is it, like, because, like, the sand is supposed to be the sand in the sandbox. The dirt is supposed to be the dirt in the dirt in the dirt. But if the sand and the dirt mix, then that's, like, the two forces intermingling when they're not supposed to. Kind of like a oddity and humanity or whatever, right? Where it's, like, we're supposed to have the railing and the two sides, you know, the street and the sidewalk, but the reality of the situation is that if not fixed, the railing will fall away and these two things will merge. And he's seeing that in a negative light because the destruction of the sandbox is like probably not good. But what's wrong with the sand and the dirt mixing? You know? Is that like which could lead to an incident of quicksand? So it's like, okay, if the sand and the dirt mix, if the walls come down between oddity and human, if we want to try to push it there, then that would cause quicksand, that would cause like bad thing to happen. I mean, sure. It's not like things have been happy hunky-dory ever since freaking Oddity 101 has hit us. I just love this shot, by the way, of the crack and the sand dropping. That's such a cool visual. Yeah, it's funny that his idea of the worst-case scenario is a mixing of these two forces, which is non-proper. And I'm using proper because of Ogi, because I think that's... This worry of his is what Ogi is there to fix, but... Right? That Ogi is, like, keeping the box together. Well, is Ogi doing that? Ogi's a freaking rat. I think Ogi is doing that to a degree, yeah. It warrants immediate action. True. Call the park ranger. Who's the park ranger? You're not going to fix that? Why are you calling park management? Is that a metaphor? No, I'm joking. That's probably a bit too far. The biggest threat to peace and the most terrifying force is what? HACHIKUJIIII? Seems to have oh, yeah, but it's nature itself. Well, but what put the crack there? It was just the load of the sand? Yeah. Which is like nature itself. Well, could you say like the nature of human existence, the nature of the human condition is what caused your cracks to form in your sandbox, Araragi, which then, undealt with, will cause issues that while you are distracting yourself with oddities on top, really it's your core unsatisfaction with human existence that's causing it? Causing the impending doom? It's horrifying as a demon, as frightening as the human condition. Yeah. I kind of like that. And this isn't the sandbox coming back, right? Did park management fix it? Wait. Did park management not fix it? He left to go call park management, and then we cut to it still being a problem the next day. Is it like he didn't even deal with it? He uncovers that there's like a root problem in his sandbox, but rather than dealing with it, he puts it off to someone else, or does he even call park management? Because like it doesn't get dealt with. Like it's still causing issues. Like even when if we want to push it that far, that's like even when he realizes that there is a hole in his sandbox, even when he realizes the core issues that goes deeper than even like all the oddities he distracts himself with, even when he realizes that, he still doesn't fix it. Right? He still continues to just do his own thing and like live it, so that's kind of crazy. Because he doesn't fix it. This problem never gets solved. I mean, we're still waiting for the collapse. Like, even now, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, I feel like. That's crazy. I think that's true. Yeah, I mean, this was a juicy one. I like this one a lot, actually. I feel like this is like, I feel like a rather apt analogy for, like, some of the bigger Araragi talks as a whole, which I really appreciate, especially this ending sand part. I really like the road discussion as well, because it, like, gets into, like, perceptions, like, relativism of, like, like, the road is a road because it's used as a road kind of thing. Or it's a road because one walks upon it. Like, that's what makes it a road. So if I, like, okay, I'm not going to say that out loud. Wow. If I were to, like, I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say something about, like, stepping on someone to, like, walk on them, and then are they a road? But I just, whoa. It sounded crazier. It sounded crazier the way I was going to say it. So we're just going to... Also, why is Araragi in the circle? He's like walking on a road in a circle. He's Ouroborosing his own life. Walking in a circle, making no change. Circular Araragi, man. You know what I'm saying? But dog, just moving forward constantly means nothing if you're moving in a circle. Right? If you're just walking on a roundabout, like, you're stagnated. So in the grand scheme, you're not moving forward, which is the same thing as not moving at all. So, like, you're, like, deluding yourself. You're, like, tricking yourself. If you're walking in a circle and you're saying that I'm moving forward, like I am on a road, then you're kind of lying because in a bigger picture, you're not actually moving forward, right? If you're looping. which is kind of what stagnation is. So maybe that's why Ogi's here to like destroy us, because as much as Araragi claims that he's moving forward or whatever, or as much as Araragi would maybe, I don't know if he claims it, but like deludes himself or tricks himself or pretends that he's moving forward, really he's stagnated in a circle. Or maybe I'm just crazy. Or maybe it's just a fun circle piece to highlight how the story's actually about Araragi and I'm just losing it. But we're talking about roundabouts and roads, and like a roundabout that we walk upon is like akin to stagnation, which is akin to not moving forward, which is akin to like not moving on the road in the first place. Okay, that's what I got. I think that's what I got for this one. This actually was, I think I really liked this episode. I think these were both two very concise, strong analogies. So I'm intrigued on how they connect together, because I feel like out of everything here, like the connection between the two is where I'm lacking. But yeah, so very good though. I like that one a lot. I think that's all I got for this episode, though. Episode 3 of Koyomimonogatari. And by the next episode 4 should be exciting. Of course, if you like the video, subscribe. If you're new, blah, blah, blah. It really does help. Hit the bell, notifications, bing, 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 comment. Join the Discord. Talk to me and other Monogatari fans there. But until next episode, that's got for now. I'll be seeing you on episode 4. Should be seeing you then. Peace.